Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "Well, that's some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, nothing more." Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I'd sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I kept repeating, "It's some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. It's just some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, nothing more." Presently, my soul grew stronger. Hesitating then no longer, "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so faintly you came tapping, and so gently you came rapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. And here I open wide the door. Darkness there, nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken. The stillness gave no token. The only word there spoken was the whispered word Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Only this, nothing more. So back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, and again I heard the tapping somewhat louder than before. Surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. It's the wind, nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flit and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore, and not the least obeisance made he. Not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady, he perched above my chamber door. He perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. He perched and sat, and nothing more. And this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim and ancient raven, wandering in from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the nice Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Well, much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, a bird or beast upon a sculptured bust above his chamber door with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as though his soul in that one word he did outpour, and nothing further than he uttered, and not a feather than he fluttered, until I scarcely more than muttered, "Well, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he shall leave me, as my hopes have flown before." And then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled, the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken. "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is it's its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore." But the raven still beguiling my sad soul into smiling, so straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door, and then upon the velvet sinking I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now seemed to burn into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er. But whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by the angels he hath sent thee respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, and whether tempest set, or whether tempest toss thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, in this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me truly, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, and by that heaven that bends above us, and by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Adyen it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the nice Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. The raven, never flitting, still is sitting on that pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. His eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming. The lamplight over him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. My soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.